Mark 11. And when they came near Jerusalem to Beth-phage and Beth-anya at the Mount of Olives, he sent out 2 of his taught ones, and said to them, Go into the village opposite you, and immediately entering into it, you shall find a colt tied on which no one has sat. Loosen it, and bring it. And if anyone says to you, Why are you doing this? Say, The master needs it, and shall send it back straight away. So they went away, and found the colt tied to the door outside the street, and they loosed it. And some of those standing there said to them, What are you doing, loosening that colt? And they said to them, As Yeshua had said. So they let them go. And they brought the colt to Yeshua, and threw their garments on it, and sat on it. And many spread their garments on the way, and others were cutting down branches from trees, and were spreading them on the way. And those going before, and those following, cried out, Hoshiana, blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yeshua, of Yahweh. Blessed is the coming reign of our father David, in the name of Yahweh. Hosanna in the highest. And Yeshua went into Jerusalem, and into the set-apart place. And having looked around on all, he went out to Beth-anya with the 12, as the hour was already late. And on the next day, when they had come out of Beth-anya, he was hungry, and seeing at a distance a fig tree, having leaves, he went to see whether he would find any fruit on it. And when he came to it, he found none but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And Yeshua responding said to it, Let no one eat fruit from you ever again. And his taught ones heard it. And they came to Jerusalem. Yeshua, entering into the set-apart place, began to drive out those who bought and sold in the set-apart place, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those selling doves. And he did not allow anyone to carry a vessel through the set-apart place. And he was teaching, saying to them, Has it not been written, My house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you have made it a den of robbers? And the scribes and the chief priests heard it, and they were seeking how to destroy him, for they feared him, because all the crowd was astonished at his teaching. And when evening came, he went out of the city, and in the morning passing by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. Then Kepha, remembering, said to him, Rabbi, look, the fig tree which you cursed has withered. And Yeshua answering said to them, Have belief in Elohim. For truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, Be removed and be thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says shall be done, he shall have whatever he says. Because of this I say to you, whatever you ask when you pray, believe that you will receive them, and you shall have them. And whenever you stand praying, if you hold whatever against anyone, forgive, so that your Father in the heavens shall also forgive you your trespasses. But if you do not forgive, neither shall your Father in the heavens forgive your trespasses. And they came again to Jerusalem, and as he was walking in the set-apart place, the chief priests and the scribes and the elders came to him, and they said to him, By what authority are you doing these? And who gave you the authority to do these? And Yeshua answering said to them, I shall ask you one question, and answer me, and I shall say to you by what authority I do these. The immersion of Yohanan, was it from heaven or from men? Answer me. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, If we say from heaven, he shall say, Then why did you not believe him? But if we say from men, they feared the people, for all held that Yohanan was a prophet indeed. And answering, they said to Yeshua, We do not know. And Yeshua answering said to them, Neither do I say to you by what authority I do these. Chapter 12. And he began to speak to them in parables. A man planted a vineyard, and put a hedge around it, and dug a vat for the winepress, and built a watchtower, and let it out to farmers, and went away. And at harvest time he sent a servant to the farmers to receive some of the fruit of the vineyard from the farmers. And they seized him, and beat him, and sent him away empty-handed. And again he sent them another servant, And throwing stones at him, they wounded him in the head and sent him away, having insulted him. And again he sent another, and they killed him, and many others, beating some and killing some. He had one more son, his beloved. He sent him last of all, saying, "They shall respect my son." But those farmers said among themselves, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance shall be ours." So they took him and killed him and threw him out of the vineyard. What then shall the owner of the vineyard do? He shall come and destroy the farmers and give the vineyard to others. Have you not read this scripture? The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. This was from Yahweh, and it is marvelous in our eyes. And yet they were seeking to seize him, but feared the crowd, for they knew he had spoken the parable against them. And leaving him, they went away. And they sent to him some of the Pharisees and the Herodians to catch him in a word. And when they came, they said to him, "Teacher, we know that you are true, and it does not concern you about anyone, for you are not partial to any, but teach the ways of Elohim in truth. Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not? Should we pay or should we not pay?" And he, knowing their hypocrisy, said to them, "Why do you try me? Bring me a denarius to look at." And they brought it. And he said to them, "Whose likeness and inscription is this?" And they said to him, "Caesar's." So Yeshua said to them, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to Elohim what is Elohim's." And they marveled at him. And Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to him, and they asked him, saying, "Teacher, Moshe wrote to us that if a brother of anyone dies and leaves his wife behind and leaves no children, his brother should take his wife and raise up offspring for his brother. There were 7 brothers, and the first took a wife and died, leaving no offspring. And the second took her, and he died, leaving behind no offspring. And the third likewise. And 7 left no offspring. Last of all the woman died too. In the resurrection then, when they rise, whose wife shall she be? For 7 had her as wife. And Yeshua answering said to them, "It is not why you go astray, because you do not know the scriptures, nor the power of Elohim." Is this not why you go astray? Because you do not know the scriptures, nor the power of Elohim? For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but are as messengers in the heavens. And concerning the dead, that they rise, have you not read in the book of Moshe at the bush, how Elohim spoke to him, saying, "I am the Elohim of Abraham, and the Elohim of Yitzhak, and the Elohim of Jacob." He is not the Elohim of the dead, but Elohim of the living. You then go greatly astray. And one of the scribes coming near, hearing them reasoning together, knowing that he had answered them well, asked him, "Which is the first command of all?" And Yeshua answered him, "The first of all the commands is, Hear, O Yisrael, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh is one, and you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first command. And the second is like it. The second like it is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other command greater than these." And the scribe said to him, "Well said, teacher. You have spoken the truth, for there is one Elohim, and there is no other besides him. And to love him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the being, and with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as oneself is more than all the ascending offerings and offerings." And when Yeshua saw that he answered wisely, he said to him, "You are not far from the reign of Elohim." And after that, no one was bold enough to question him. And Yeshua responding said, while teaching in the set-apart place, "How is it that the scribes say that Messiah is the son of David? David himself said by the set-apart Spirit, Yahweh said to my master, Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool to your feet. David himself calls him Master. In what way, then, is he his son? And the large crowd heard him gladly, and in his teaching he was saying to them, Beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes, and like greetings in the marketplaces, and the best seats in the congregations, and the best places in feasts, who are devouring widows' houses, and for a show make long prayers. These shall receive greater judgment. And sitting opposite the treasury, he saw how the people put copper into the treasury, and many rich ones put in much. And a poor widow came and threw in 2 leptons, which amount to a quadrans. And calling near his taught ones, he said to them, Truly I say to you that this poor widow has put in more than all those putting into the treasury. For they all put in out of their excess, but she, out of her poverty, put in all that she had, her entire livelihood. Chapter 13. And as he went out of the set-apart place, one of his taught ones said to him, Teacher, see what stones and what buildings. And Yeshua answering said to him, Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone shall be left upon another at all, which shall not be thrown down. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives opposite the set-apart place, Kepha and Jacob and Yohanan and Andre asked him separately, Say to us, when shall these events be? And what shall be the sign when all this is going to be accomplished? And Yeshua began to say to them, Take heed that no one leads you astray. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am he, and they shall lead many astray. And when you hear of fightings and reports of fightings, do not be troubled. It has to take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and reign against reign. And there shall be earthquakes in various places, and there shall be scarcities of food and disturbances. These are the beginnings of birth pains. But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils and to congregations. You shall be beaten, and you shall be brought before rulers and sovereigns for my sake, for a witness to them. And the good news has to be proclaimed first to all the nations. And when they lead you astray and deliver you up, do not worry beforehand what you are to say, but whatever is given you in that hour, speak that. For it is not you who are speaking, but the set-apart Spirit. And brother shall deliver up brother to death, and a father his child, and children rise up against parents, and shall put them to death. And you shall be hated by all because of my name. But he who shall have endured to the end shall be saved. And when you see the abomination that lays waste, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, set up where it should not be, he who reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Yehuda flee to the mountains. And he who is on the housetop, let him not go down into the house, nor come in to take whatever out of his house. And he who is in the field, let him not go back to get his cloak. And woe to those who are pregnant, and to those nursing children in those days. And pray that your flight does not take place in winter, for in those days there shall be distress, such as not been from the beginning of creation which Elohim created until this time, nor ever shall be. And if the master had not shortened those days, no flesh would have been saved, but because of the chosen ones whom he chose, he shortened the days. Go away. And if anyone then says to you, Look, here is the Messiah, or look, there, do not believe it, for false messiahs and false prophets shall rise and show signs and wonders to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen ones. And you shall take heed. See, I have forewarned you of it all. But in those days after that distress, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars of the heavens shall fall, and the powers in the heavens shall be shaken. And then they shall see the Son of Adam coming in the clouds with much power and esteem. And then he shall send his messengers and assemble his chosen ones from the four winds, from the farthest part of the earth to the farthest part of heaven. And learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that the summer is near. So you also, when you see these taking place, know that it is near, at the door. Truly I say to you, this generation shall by no means pass away till all this takes place. The heaven and the earth shall pass away, but my words shall by no means pass away. But concerning that day and the hour no one knows, not even the messengers in the heavens, nor the Son, but only the Father. Take heed, watch and pray, for you do not know when the time is. As a man going abroad, having left his house and given authority to his servants, and to each his work, and commanded the doorkeeper to watch. Watch therefore, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, in the evening, or at midnight, or at the crowing of the cock, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he should find you sleeping. And what I say to you, I say to all, watch. Chapter 14. Now the Pesach, the festival of Massa, was after 2 days, and the chief priests and the scribes were seeking how to take him through treachery and put him to death. And they said, not at the festival, lest there shall be an uproar of the people. And while he was in Beth-Anya, in the house of Shimon the leper, and sitting at the table, a woman came having an alabaster flask of perfume, genuine nard, very costly, and breaking the flask, she poured it on his head. But there were some who were much displeased among themselves, and said, why was this perfume wasted? For it could have been sold for more than 300 denarii, and given to the poor. And they were scolding her. But Yeshua said, leave her alone. Why do you trouble her? She has done a good work for me. For you have the poor with you always, and you are able to do good to them whenever you wish, but you do not always have me. What she had, she used. She took it beforehand to anoint my body for the burial. Truly I say to you, whenever this good news is proclaimed in all the world, what this woman did shall also be spoken of to her remembrance. And Yehuda from Kerioth, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to deliver him up to them. And when they heard it, they were glad and promised to give him silver, and he was seeking how to deliver him up conveniently. And on the first day of unleavened bread, when they were slaughtering the Pesach lamb, his taught ones said to him, where do you wish to go and prepare for you to eat the Pesach? And he sent out 2 of his taught ones, and said to them, go into the city, there is a man bearing a jar of water, shall meet you, follow him. And wherever he enters, say to the master of the house, the teacher says, where is the guest room in which I am to eat the Pesach with my taught ones? And he shall show you a large upper room, furnished, ready. Prepare for us there. And his taught ones went out and came into the city and found it as he had said to them. And they prepared the Pesach. And evening having come, he came with the 12. And as they sat and ate, Yeshua said, truly I say to you, one of you who is eating with me shall deliver me up. And they began to be grieved, and to say to him one by one, is it I? And another, is it I? And he answering said them, it is the one of the 12 who is dipping with me in the dish. The Son of Adam is indeed going as it has been written of him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Adam is delivered up. It would have been good for the man if he had not been born. And as they were eating, Yeshua took bread, having blessed, broke it, gave it to them, and said, take, eat, this is my body. And taking the cup, giving thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank from it. And he said to them, this is my blood, that of the renewed covenant, which is shed for many. Truly I say to you, I shall certainly no more drink of the fruit of the vine, till that day when I drink it anew in the reign of Elohim. And having sung a song, they went out to the Mount of Olives. And Yeshua said to them, all of you shall stumble in me this night, For it has been written, I shall strike the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. But after I am raised, I shall go before you to Galil. And Kepha said to him, Even if all shall stumble, yet not I. And Yeshua said to him, Truly I say to you that today, this night, before the cock shall crow twice, you shall deny me 3 times. But he spoke more strongly, If I have to die with you, I shall not deny you. And they all said the same. And they came to the place called Gethsemane. And he said to his taught ones, Sit here while I pray. And he took with him Kepha and Jacob and Johanan, and he began to greatly amazed and to be deeply distressed. And he said to them, My being is exceedingly grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch. And he went on a little and fell on the ground, and was praying that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, Abba, Father, all is possible for you. Make this cup pass from me, yet not what I desire, but what you desire. And he came and found them sleeping, and said to Kepha, Shimon, Are you sleeping? You were not able to watch 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into the trial. The spirit indeed is eager, but the flesh is weak. And again he went away and prayed and spoke the same words. And having returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. And he came the 3rd time and said to them, Are you still sleeping and resting? It is enough. The hour has come. See, the Son of Adam is being delivered up into the hands of sinners. Rise up and let us go. See, he who is delivering me up has drawn near. And immediately, while he was still speaking, Yehuda, one of the 12, with a large crowd, with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests and the scribes and the elders. And the one who was delivering him up had given them a signal, saying, Whomever I kiss, it is he. Seize him and lead him away safely. And going straight up to him, he said to him, Rabbi, Rabbi, and he kissed him. And they laid their hands on him and seized him. And one of those standing by drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. And Yeshua answering said to them, Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to take me? Daily I was with you in the set-apart place teaching, and you did not seize me. But let the scriptures be filled. And they all left him and fled. And a certain young man was following him, having a linen cloth thrown around his naked body. And when they seized him, he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. And they led Yeshua away to the high priest, and all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes came together to him. And Kepha followed him at a distance, even into the courtyard of the high priest. And he was sitting with the officers and warming himself at the fire. And the chief priests and all the council were seeking witness against Yeshua to put him to death. And they were finding none, for many bore false witness against him, but their evidence did not agree. And some rose up and bore false witness against him, saying, We heard him saying, I shall destroy this dwelling place that is made with hands, and within 3 days I shall build another made without hands. And not even then did their witnesses agree. And the high priest stood up in the center and asked Yeshua, saying, Have you no answer to make? What do these witness against you? But he remained silent and gave no answer. Again the high priest asked him, saying to him, Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed? And Yeshua said, I am, and you shall see the Son of Adam sitting at the right hand of the power, and coming with the clouds of the heavens. And tearing his garments, the high priest said, What further need do we have of witnesses? You have heard the blasphemy. What do you think? And they all condemned him. To be liable to death. And some began to spit on him, and to blindfold him, and to beat him, and say to him, Prophesy! And the officers struck him with palms of their hands. And as Kepha was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came, and seeing Kepha warming himself, she looked at him, and said, And you were with Yeshua of Nazareth. But he denied it, saying, I do not know nor understand what you are saying. And he went out into the porch, and a cock crowed. And the servant girl saw him again and began to say those words. Who stood by, "This is one of them." And again he was denying it. And after a little while, those who stood by again said to Kepha, "Truly, you are one of them, for you are a Galilean too, and your speech is alike." And he began to curse and swear, "I do not know this man of whom you speak." And a second time the cock crowed, and Kepha remembered the word that Yeshua had said to him, "Before the cock crows twice, you shall deny me 3 times. And thinking on it, he wept. Chapter 15. And immediately in the morning the chief priests had a council meeting with the elders and scribes and all the council. Having bound Yeshua, they led him away and delivered him to Pilate. And Pilate asked him, "Are you the sovereign of the Yehudim?" And he answering said to him, "You say it." And the chief priests accused him of much, but he made no answer. And Pilate again asked him, saying, "Have you no answer? See how much they witness against you." But Yeshua still gave no answer, so that Pilate marveled. And at the festival he released to them one prisoner whom they were asking. And there was one called Barabbas, chained with his fellow rebels, who had committed murder in the uprising. And the crowd, crying aloud, began to ask, as he had always done for them. But Pilate answered them, saying, "Do you wish me to release for you the sovereign of the Yehudim?" For he knew that the chief priests had handed him over because of envy. And the chief priests stirred up the crowd, that he should rather release Barabbas to them. And Pilate answered and said to them, "What then do you wish me to do to him, whom you call the sovereign of the Yehudim?" And again they cried out, "Impale him." And Pilate said to them, "Why? What evil has he done?" And they vehemently cried out, "Impale him." And Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas to them, and having whipped him, he delivered Yeshua over to be impaled. And the soldiers led him away into the court, which is the palace, and they called together the entire company of soldiers, and decked him with purple, and they plaited a crown of thorns, put it on him, and they began to call out to him, "Greetings, sovereign of the Yehudim." And they kept beating him on the head with a reed, and were spitting on him, and bending the knee, and they were bowing down to him. And when they had mocked him, they took the purple off him, put his own garments on him, and led him out to impale him. And they compelled a passerby, Shimon, a Syrian, coming from a field, the father of Alexander and Rufus, to bear his stake. And they brought him to the place Golgotha, which is translated place of a skull. And they were giving him wine mixed with myrrh to drink, but he did not take it. And when they impaled him, they divided his garments, casting lots for them, what each one should take. And it was the 3rd hour, and they impaled him. And the inscription of his accusation was written above, "The sovereign of the Yehudim." And with him they impaled 2 robbers, one on his right, the other on his left. And the scripture was filled, which said, "And he was reckoned with the lawless." And those passing by were blaspheming him, shaking their heads, and saying, "Ah, you who destroy the dwelling place and build it in 3 days, save yourself and come down from the stake." And likewise the chief priests and the scribes, mocking to one another, said, "He saved others. He is unable to save himself. The Messiah, the sovereign of Israel. Come down now from the stake, so that we see and believe." And those who were impaled with him were reproaching him. And when the 6th hour came, darkness came over the land until the 9th hour. In the 9th hour Yeshua cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," which is translated, my El, why have you forsaken me?" They heard it said, "See, he is calling for Eliyahu." And someone ran and filled a sponge with sour wine and put it on a reed and offered it to him to drink, saying, "Leave him. Let us see if Eliyahu does come to take him down." And Yeshua cried out with a loud voice and breathed his last. And the veil of the dwelling place was torn in 2 from top to bottom. And when the captain who was standing opposite him saw that he had cried out like this and breathed his last, he said, "Truly this man was the son of Elohim." And there were also women watching from a distance, from among whom was also Miriam from Magdala, and Miriam the mother of Jacob the Less, and of Joseph and Shaloma, who also followed him and attended him when he was in Galilee, and many other women who came up with him to Jerusalem. And when evening had come, because it was the preparation day, that is, the day before the Sabbath, Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent council member, who was himself waiting for the reign of Elohim, came boldly, went into the Pilate, and asked for the body of Yeshua. But Pilate wondered whether he was already dead. So summoning the captain, he asked him if he was already dead. And when he learned this from the captain, he gave the body to Joseph. And he, having bought fine linen, took him down and wrapped him in the linen, laid him in a tomb which had been hewn out of the rock, and rolled a stone against the entrance of the tomb. And Miriam from Magdala, and Miriam the mother of Joseph, saw where he was laid. Chapter 16. And when the Sabbath was past, Miriam from Magdala, and Miriam the mother of Jacob, and Shaloma brought spices to go and anoint him. And very early on day 1 of the week, they came to the tomb when the sun had risen, and they said among themselves, "Who shall roll away the stone from the entrance of the tomb for us?" And looking up, they saw that the stone had been rolled away, for it was extremely large. And having entered into the tomb, they saw a young man sitting on the right, wearing a white robe, and they were greatly astonished. And he said to them, "Do not be much astonished. You seek Yeshua of Nazareth, who is impaled. He was raised, he is not here. See the place where they laid him. And go, say to his taught ones in Kepha, that he is going before you into Galilee. You shall see him there as he said to you." And they went out and fled from the tomb, and were trembling and bewildered, and they spoke to no one, for they were afraid. And having risen early on the first day of the week, he appeared first to Miriam from Magdala, from whom he had cast out 7 demons. She went and reported to those who had been with him, mourning and weeping. And when they heard that he was alive, and had been seen by her, they did not believe. And after this he appeared in another form to 2 of them, as they walked and went into a field. And they went and reported to the rest, but they did not believe them either. Later he appeared to the 11, as they sat at the table, and he reproached their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they did not believe those who had seen him after he was raised. And he said to them, "Go into all the world and proclaim the good news to every creature. He who has believed and has been immersed shall be saved, but he who has not believed shall be condemned. And these signs shall accompany the ones who believe. In my name they shall cast out demons, and they shall speak with renewed tongues. They shall take up snakes, and if they drink any deadly drink, it shall by no means hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall get well. They indeed, after the Master had spoken to them, he was received up into the heaven and sat down at the right hand of Elohim. And they went out and proclaimed it everywhere, while the Master worked with them and confirmed the word through the accompanying signs. Amen." And that is the book of Mark. Shalom.